Hi, welcome to Ranger Country. I'm Peter.
And I'm Lawrence.
And we're here today to have a look at the Webley Eagle air rifle.
We're a little bit behind the schedule, a little bit behind the times, but we got there eventually, and yeah, we're going to give it a go.
So, a little over a year ago, I saw the first one of these that was about, and one of the reps showed me it on the quiet, and I said that's an ATA Airborne, and it's very similar, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think they're coming out the same factory.
We've taken a couple stills of the action block, and yeah, there's a lot of similarities.
A lot of similarities. Now, I think looking it over and looking at everything that this has got and everything that the Airborne's got, I think they've taken the good bits from the Airborne and they've worked on the not so good bits, and they've put it all into the Eagle.
Yeah, it feels a bit like you say, an Airborne, an ATA Airborne, but just a bit nicer.
Like a Gen 2,
yeah,
maybe.
Bit
Gen
more
2
refined.
or Gen 3, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Now, when they first brought the Airborne out, we were gushing about it, weren't we?
Yeah.
Fantastic value for money, regulated air gun.
And at the start it was.
And we had a few little problems with it, didn't we? We had regulator issues, we had clipping problems. Now, we're not getting any of the problems with this, are we?
No, they haven't been out that long. I think it's been 6 months or so.
But we have waited for the video to just see if we are getting any problems, and there hasn't been any.
No.
So it looks like they've ironed the majority of the problems out, all of the problems, and they've perfected the Eagle.
Yep. So shall we show off what it actually is?
Yeah.
Into features, starting off with the butt end, we've got a nice thick recoil pad here. Now it's not particularly soft, I wouldn't call it rubber, and I wouldn't call it a recoil pad, but it's quite nice. It's quite, I don't want to say sticky, but it's like rubberized. I'm sure it is rubber, it's just really, really hard.
It's handy there to give you a bit more length of pull, isn't it?
Yeah, and it just finishes it off.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've also got typical Turkish rifle. We've got a lovely walnut stock. It's obviously thumb hole. It's sort of ambidextrous. Everything from here forwards is ambidextrous. We've just got a raised cheek piece on the left-hand side of the stock, i.e. for a right-handed person, but no raised section on the right, i.e. for a left-handed person. I've tried it holding it left-handed, and it feels perfectly comfortable. Feels much the same as the right-handed, to be honest. So yeah, I would say it's ambidextrous. The action is dedicated right-handed, like the Airbornes always were. But yeah, that's no issue because it will just be it'll still be on the wrong side when you're on a left hand, won't it? Because it'll be on
the correct side.
No, on the incorrect side.
Yeah.
We've got, I think the Airborne had a Picatinny rail up top, didn't it?
Yeah, but now we've got a dual rail, which is a nice little extra that the Turkish guns are fitting onto some of the models, aren't they?
I think before now it's only been Kral and Reximegs. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's definitely only been the Turkish stuff. And it's quite a simple, elegant solution. It works quite well. Certainly this one does anyway. It's well spaced, it's well sized, and it's a clever solution. You've got 9 to 11mm dovetail rail and this Picatinny rail up top as well. So yeah, nice handy solution and works really, really well.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, definitely. Nicely machined as well.
Yeah.
Where are you moving to now? Moving forward, are you going down or are you going along?
Well, let's go all the way. So let's go downwards. So we've got a trigger. There's a trigger down here. You pull it and it fires.
Good job.
It is adjustable. We haven't tried to adjust it, obviously, as we've said before in previous videos. All the guns that we test are from factory. We just pick them up and shoot them, maybe clean the barrel. But otherwise, you've got a It's an adjustable blade, so it will pivot left and right and it will go up and down. It won't go forwards and backwards, so it's not quite full match grade trigger.
It's a match design, I would say, isn't it? Sort of semi-match design.
Yeah. They've done as much as they can without having to change all the whole design.
Nicer trigger than the Airborne as well. They have
the Airborne
on that.
was just a blade. They are, like you say, it's like an Airborne Mark II.
Now I see the safety catch is on part of that trigger there as well.
It's tucked away and hidden up there,
Very
isn't it?
air arms like, isn't it, on the blade there?
Yes, but at least the air arms is easier to get to. So obviously, as a right-handed shooter, I would flick the safety catch off with my trigger finger. It's right up in the top there, and then obviously flick up with the other hand.
And it just blocks the actual blade, the trigger mechanism actually moving back, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It doesn't block sears or anything. It's just the actual blade that it stops moving.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I very rarely use a safety catch. If I'm out rat shooting or anything, if I'm live, I'm live. I take the shot and then it mags out and it's clear. So personally, I don't use the safety catch tool too much, but I guess it's not unusable.
No, it's functional, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's there if you want it. If you're out rabbiting, you're walking through the woods or pigeon shooting, you probably want to flick the safety on just in case you get a twig caught in the trigger. You know, you never know going through the woods. Bit of rough shooting. Quite a large space in that trigger guard there, isn't there? Trigger guard synthetic, polymer trigger guard, keeps weight down.
Yep, and the price down. It's not an expensive rifle. They save money where it doesn't really matter, and they spend it where it does kind of matter, like on the rail and on the finish of the stock and that sort of thing.
Now moving forward from there, we've got a nice little dust plug there on the fill port. And on the fill port here, we've got a standard quick connector. So standard best fittings type quick connector straight on there. And you've got a nice little cutout there to get your fingers in to release it. Whereas several manufacturers, they have to put an extended coupler on, don't they?
Yeah, it's not like a day state Red Wolf or Wolverine with the traditional style stock.
Or crown.
That's quite deep that needs that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's plenty of room there to get your fingers in and move it. Got a stud up front for the other part to your bipod, the other part to your sling.
Yep,
that's the word. Or equally to be able to put a bipod on there.
Yep, it doesn't come with the stud. We have checked a few more of the guns that we have in stock, and yeah, they don't seem to come with a stud.
No,
but £10, you soon gets one of those on there. And I did forget to mention that it does come with a sling swivel at the back, mounted from factory.
Now I found bench shooting that was getting in the way a little bit. So
if you tucked right up, that's where your hands rested.
I'd probably whip that out if I was just bench shooting. Put it in the box, and you've always got it if you want it in future.
Yeah, 100%. So moving forward, well, we're moving quite a way forward. This is more of a handling thing, but look how long the action block is.
That is huge, isn't it?
Massive, yeah. It's a third of the rifle. Anyway, we'll come back to that in a bit. We've got a big old bottle. Now, it's a big old steel bottle, 420 cc's. So it's not quite as big as like a standard carbon bottle would be.
Is it steel or alley?
Well,
that's possibly alley, is it?
It's one.
Yeah, it's alley.
Okay.
Not steel.
There you go. It's still quite heavy. I've seen on there that it's 3/4 of a kilo. So that's where a lot of the weight is, and it's quite far forward.
Now this is actually smaller than the Airborne cylinder, isn't it? I think the Airborne's got a 580, and this is a 420.
Yeah.
So that was quite huge sticking out the front there, wasn't it? It was like a little, I don't know what it was like.
Like a grenade launcher.
Yeah, like a little thermos flask stuck on the front there, and
close enough.
Yeah. So they've compacted the cylinder a little bit down to probably a bit more sensible size, really.
Yeah, obviously that saves a bit of money as well, which again makes sense. It cuts
down your weight a little bit.
It was a colossal bottle.
Yeah, it was.
Now, I will say, brings us on to one of the numbers. Shot count is a bit lower than I would have expected.
It's regulated as well, isn't it? So you'd expect quite a big shot count.
Yeah, you get less than 200 shots out of this. So it's about 170, 180 I've seen. And that's in the 2.2. I'd have expected a lot more than that. I mean, a Kral MPO2, I don't know the capacities of that. It's probably something similar. But that's non-regulated, and that gives you about 250. So I'm sure there's some inefficiencies here somewhere. Maybe it's designed for American markets,
Higher
European
power.
markets, exactly. Yeah. And it's not quite efficiently tuned for us lowly Brits. It's a bit of a shame for the size of the cylinder, for
Tell you what,
that
I have
weight you're
noticed,
lugging around.
There's these cutouts in that magazine port. Now, I tried it earlier on. You can quite easily poke a pellet into that breech without struggling.
Right. Would you do that with a 177 though?
Probably not. You would if you got more agile fingers than I have.
So that was what you're saying is quite a deep loading gate there to be able to get.
And that's chamfered away a little bit, so you can. I know someone when we're testing rifles with HW 100, for instance, if you're trying to single load in the workshop, checking the power, quite a fiddle, isn't it?
Yeah, you have to point it downwards and then
and then
poke it and hope for the best.
Yeah, and then ping, it lands on the floor. And yeah, that's quite nice size.
Yep.
Brings us forward to a semi-reflex moderator. Now, what I mean by reflex is it's slightly sleeved over the barrel with an O-ring to finish off the gap between the moderator and the barrel. So you're only saving probably half an inch to an inch, but it's still saving just that little bit of length.
And then it obviously saves you the weight over the front end as well.
Yeah. Now I think the barrel is shorter as well, isn't it, than the Airborne, because the cylinder's smaller. It will be not as efficient with it having a bit shorter barrel as well. So
yeah, we didn't get a measurement for the barrel on its own. We have for the whole length. We'll get into that when we get into handling. But yeah, I mean, anything to keep the weight back from the back end is going to be
from the front end. Keep it off the front. Yeah. Towards the back or central. Yeah, definitely.
So we've got the 2.2 with us here today. It does come in 177 as well. On the subject of calibers and also magazines, you get 2 magazines with it. In the 2.2 they're 12 round, and then the 177 they're 14 round. Sort of standard Turkish design, fully plastic. Spin it all the way around. Spin it over. First pellet goes in backwards, and from there you start loading in from there. I guess it's a bit more of the Chinese design. I think the Kral and the Reximex all load in from the front. Still.
The old
Theorbans.
That harks back to the old Theorband days, doesn't it, really? Yeah.
I mean, these seem fine. Definitely fine.
Tell you what I've noticed, which is very unusual for a Turkish rifle, and that is we get 3 years warranty.
That is. What else have that? Day State?
K-States, Air Arms.
Yeah. BSA 2. Brocock 2.
That's about
Virax
it,
1.
isn't it?
FX is 1. Yeah.
That's quite bold to give it a 3-year warranty.
Yeah.
They must be fairly sure of themselves.
Yeah. Either that or there's a massive markup in them and they can afford to just replace it. But maybe that's just me being cynical.
Yeah. No, good point. But it's certainly worth having, isn't it?
Yeah.
The amount of airguns that come with a 3-year warranty.
Yeah. It gives you that peace of mind of knowing that, I mean, heck, if there does end up being a problem with it down the line, that we've not realised, that the manufacturer's not realised, that you're going to have the backup for it. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Nice little touch, that. A very nice little touch.
Yep. Yeah. 100%. Have we got any other features to to display, or shall we jump into handling?
I'll tell you one thing before we go. It's quite a nice little manual, and it's not Chinglish either.
Or
It's
Tinglish, I guess it would be.
Tinglish to yeah.
English.
Yeah, it's quite a. Now it's also got exploded views. You've got exploded view of the constituent parts, the stock, the action, and bits and pieces. Then you've also got the receiver, so that splits the whole gun down. So you've got a complete exploded diagram of that.
Now, what this won't mean is that this is a oh yeah, this is how you do it. Therefore, it won't ruin your warranty if you do take them apart.
Good point.
Your warranty still will be void if you do take the rifle apart, as with any other rifle.
Yeah, good point.
You've got the exploded diagram there. I'm not sure what it's for. I'm sure it
breaks down the barrel group and parts list, and the silencer group and parts list, the magazines, and the bottle, everything. But please don't mess with it until it's over 3 years old.
Yeah.
If you want the warranty to be in existence for it.
Yeah.
But it is quite nice.
If
It
you want,
shows you how it works.
if you're one of these that's not going to worry about the warranty, you want to take it apart, you want to see how it works, then that's you'll get to the end of the job, you'll taken it all apart and gone, oh dear, why is there a bolt over here and a bolt over here? So that's quite handy for that, actually. Yeah, good point.
Definitely.
Okay, shall we jump into handling?
Let's have a feel how this rifle handles then, Lawrence. I know we've both shot this morning. I really enjoyed it.
It was very, very nice, wasn't it? Well, I mean, that's what we first thought when we got the ATA Airborne in as well.
Yeah.
It's quite a lump. It's a big old rifle. You've got a big old bottle at the front end. It's 4.5 kilos as we've got it here scoped. So it'd be sort of 4-ish, just under 4, something like that.
Do you know, I find that having the thumbhole stock on it really does help with that handling.
A thumb hole over a sporter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
It's like an HW 100 thumbhole. It just makes it a bit more pointable.
Okay.
If you know what I mean.
Like you can hold it down a bit better.
Yeah. Yeah. Daystate Wolverine, FX Crown, both fantastic guns in my opinion. And they've both got that thumbhole stock, haven't they?
Yeah.
Just makes it a little bit more pointable, makes it a little bit more controllable.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, fair enough. So yeah, quite a big old lump, but I think on the range, as we've said before, we tend to find that the shorter, the lighter rifles can be a bit floaty in the shoulder. They can be a bit harder to shoot when we're here and under pressure. This is completely opposite of that. It's nice and stable. You know where it is. It stays pointing exactly where you're pointing. I will say that the trigger is quite heavy from factory. Yeah, the trigger is quite heavy from factory. You can't rush your shots, otherwise you'll pull it as you snap it.
You're gonna snap tune, won't you?
Yeah. But otherwise, obviously in our testing, we haven't done the proper shooting yet. In our testing and in our zeroing, we found it to be very, very accurate. It's been put in the same old groups in when we've spent some time with it, been a bit patient with squeezing the trigger. It will shoot very, very accurately.
It's just taking your time, and that last little bit, isn't it? That last squeeze.
Yeah.
Not a pull.
That's
Definitely a squeeze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of length or in terms of numbers, it's 89 centimeters from the butt to the muzzle, and it's 1,020 to the end of the silencer when the moderator's on.
Interesting, eh? That's our measurements, isn't it? And the figures that Webley provide are different to what we measured it at.
I wonder if that's the same measurements as the Airborne.
Possible. Could be, yeah.
Maybe. Interesting. I wonder if they've borrowed some figures. One thing I will mention, this is a sort of subjective, it's a looks thing. The rifle is like split up into thirds. You've got a third here, which is the stock, and then you've got a third here, which is the action block, and then you've got a third here, which is the bottle. The action block is absolutely colossal. It's all this. Really, really long.
Now, until you said that, I'd not really taken much notice of that. But it is, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's quite a long action.
It's the whole length of the foregrip almost. I guess that's intentional. I don't know why. I'm sure you could save a bit of length and then bring the weight back, but that's what they've done. That's how it is. Now, there's quite a big bolt on the side here. It's very, very smooth. It's easy to use, and typical clunky, nice, solid Turkish rifle. Yeah, bang on. That's where the length is, I guess. I don't know. I'm sure there's a reason why it's so long. It's just.
Have you noticed? I noticed when we were zeroing it and we're setting it up. Have you noticed that there's a no preload on the hammer spring, and it does actually move.
It rattles like an FX or a Brocock Ghost.
Yeah. Not doing it now.
I'll
be quiet.
Is that a take my word for it?
Yeah.
Like that.
Like that. That's it. Yeah. That's how we did it.
It's certainly not as bad as not as bad. That makes it sound like it's a bad thing. It's not as noticeable as the FX is, because the FXs will do it when you tip it up and downwards.
It's quite a good little thing, though, isn't it, for longevity of the rifle, because it's your spring isn't partially compressed when it's at resting position. You know, so when it's not cocked, there is nothing on that spring whatsoever. So as you're cocking it, you're actually compressing the spring from scratch. There's no actual preload on it. You know, it's not preloaded basically. There's no compression on the spring at all.
Yep, you said the same thing about 5 times, but yes, there's no preload on the spring, which makes it more efficient and increases the longevity.
I was trying to explain what the preload is, but
yeah, it's a preloaded spring.
Yeah, so that's a good thing. Yeah,
it's a good-looking rifle as well, though, isn't it?
It is in the thumb hole. Yeah, I'm always a sucker for a thumb hole stock. I do like them.
The walnut's quite nice. I don't know
dark stained.
I don't know how well it would take to an oil. I think that's finished.
Depends what the finish is.
Yeah, I'm no wood man. I don't know what I'm doing with finishing stocks and stuff. But it feels like it's sealed or it's finished with something. I'm sure I'll be corrected in the comments. I always am over everything that I say. But anyway,
we enjoy those, don't we?
Yeah. Sure, we'll go shooting it.
Yeah, let's move on to shooting.
Let's give it a go.
So Lawrence is in the hot seat today, behind the trigger. Let's see what we can do. Now, as we know, as regular viewers would know, we've got our monitor here, so I can see his shots and I can judge and I can comment. And we're shooting indoors in our indoor tube range, 25 metres. And we're using Air Arms field pellets today. 22 caliber, 16 grain. Lawrence is taking his time over these shots.
It's quite a heavy trigger, so I really can't rush the shots.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that.
Like that.
You?
Yeah, I think so. My eyes were going all funny on that one. Let me try and sort myself out. try another group on that right-hand target.
I think that's where your first shot went on the other target, wasn't it?
Yeah, you set the rifle up initially, you put the scope on. I haven't re-zeroed it from after you've zeroed it. Obviously, we've adjusted the scope and stuff. It's changed the point of impact.
That's a new one for our book of excuses. It's getting quite thick, this book of excuses. Nice.
Yeah, I can do it when my eyes aren't going funny. I guess I'm getting old.
If you're getting old, I'm 30 years older than you.
Yeah, no wrong with that. I don't know how many shots we've got left.
The good thing about these magazines is you've got a hold open facility on the last shot. Basically, it means there's a little plastic tab that comes round after you've used all your pellets up.
So you can't push the bolt forward.
Yeah.
Magazine
Well, you
empty.
can bend the bolt if you're really that adamant that you want to push it forward.
Yeah.
As we've had in the past. Yeah. So that's not too bad, that second attempt.
No, I had a couple of flyers on that first one, but that was me. I've sorted that scope out. That's fine.
Okay.
There we go. Let's
Do we
jump into
believe that?
conclusion. Let's jump into conclusion.
So we've had a look at the figures, Lawrence. We've had a shoot of it. Now tell me, what do you make of it?
I quite like it. Obviously, like you've mentioned here, it comes with the sling swivels, or it comes with a sling swivel. I personally wouldn't use it as a hunting rifle. I think it's too heavy, certainly compared to its competitors, to be taking it around, wandering around. It's nice and stable when you do, but I'm sure the weight would drag. On the range, I'm sure this would be brilliant and...
Quite all right around the farmyard, rested and...
Yeah.
Good, brilliant ratting.
But you've got to get it to the farmyard. You've got to get it to the barn, right?
Yeah, true, yeah.
On the range, it'd be absolutely bang on. Get it on a rest. It's super stable.
It is.
We haven't tried to adjust the trigger. I'm sure there's some amount of adjustment down there. A little bit lighter. Yeah, bang on.
You got a larger shot count as well.
Yeah, that's another sticking point for me. It's not that big. The shot count's not that big for the weight that you carry in for it.
No.
Which is a bit of a shame, I think. I'm sure it could be 250 shots plus. The high end, yeah, fair enough. The high end rifles with the 480 carbon bottles, i.e. like an FX Crown, Daystate Wolverine, all of the other ones, Daystate Red Bulls, they're 450-ish, 400 to 500. If this was 300, 250, 300, yeah, there we go, fair enough. It's not as efficient as the expensive stuff. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes
there are inefficiencies somewhere, aren't there, compared to other manufacturers? Yeah.
But otherwise, build quality, exemplary.
Exemplary.
Really, yeah, that's a big word.
I think that's the first time we've had that word used on this on
For
our reviews.
As of time of filming, 520 quid, I think it was. We looked it up. Brilliantly made, yeah.
Now it's a little bit more. We've talked about the ATA Airborne, haven't we, in this review? And it's around about 120 quid more than the Airborne.
The Airborne, I think, stayed the same price. This was 6 years ago. When did it release? Something like that.
Was it that long ago? Wow.
Pre-COVID.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I'm sure it was. So
it was, yeah.
A bit of inflation and stuff. Yeah. I'm sure it's probably not that much more. I think it's built really, really well. Really nice stock on it. It's not sharp. It's nicely stippled. I don't think we mentioned that. Nothing sharp. No wavy edges around where it's been cut in, like you can get on some cheaper guns. I think it's really well finished. The top rail's not sharp or anything, and it's well laid out.
Some thought certainly gone into it, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And you combine that with your 3 years warranty.
Yes,
It's hard to find a negative, to be honest.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah, I say just for me is it's not a negative as the shot count. It's just I'm sure they could have got more out of it. Is the shot count
disappointment on the shot count?
The trigger's very crisp. It's just a bit
heavy. Yeah.
But otherwise, yeah, bang on rifle.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. I know we've both shot it. We both had you've got to have a little play, haven't you, with all the rifles that you get in. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah.
I'm sure we'll be delivering a lot of these around the country in the months to come.
I think we will. Yes, I know we've sold quite a few since they've been released, haven't they?
Yeah.
And they've been very good.
And that's before we did a review. So
It
there we go.
absolutely was, yeah.
Now we get our thoughts out to everyone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next one.
Please like and subscribe.
Please do.